Hi friends, so glad to have you back with me again. This is the See the Light, Yes You Can Draw Club. And I'm Pat Nepley, I'm your master artist. I'll be with you through all of these club meetings. I'm so glad you're here. Now for our first 12 club meetings, we talked about the basics. We learned about all of the art elements that are so essential to great drawing. Line, shape, space, value, and color. Well, now we're into the next section of our club meetings called Making It Real, because I want to teach you some techniques where you can really make your drawings come to life and look really beautiful. But there's some basics to making it real. And today, Club Meeting 13, I want to tell you what you're going to need for our session on color blending. Okay, let's get started. You're going to need a number 2 pencil, a set of colored pencils, a Sharpie marker, a great eraser. Make sure you have your pencil sharpener handy to keep those color pencils sharp. And you'll need at least 2 pieces of white paper. Okay, so color blending. Now, you recall when we met a few meetings ago, we talked about color and the importance of knowing how the colors work on the color wheel. So if you have your color wheel handy, that'll be great too. But let's just review some things. We learned about the primary colors, yellow, blue, and red. We learned about warm colors, all of this on this side. And we learned about cool colors, all the colors on this side. We learned about secondary colors, colors that you get when you blend the primaries. So orange is a secondary color, violet is a secondary color, green is a secondary color. And of course, the intermediate colors, all the colors in between. Now, why is that important to remember now when we're talking about color blending? Because as you learn the techniques for today's tool, the color pencil, those tips are going to come in handy as you decide what colors to blend to make your drawing. Now, today we're going to be doing an exercise. It's not really a finished drawing, it's just a way for you to learn some techniques. So let's get started. You're going to take a standard piece of paper and your pencil. Now, have you ever eaten those little crackers that look like fish? I love those. We're actually going to use fish to help us learn our blending technique today. So on your paper, what I'd like you to do is draw just 6 fish shapes. Now, they don't need to look exactly like real fish, and they don't have to be perfect. This is just for us to learn color blending. So the first place you're going to go is to the top of your page and just draw kind of a basic fish shape. Now, I have to press hard so that you can see it, but you don't have to press quite as hard. As long as you can see it, that's what matters. Now, you're going to draw a fish, and they can be the same or they can be a little different. 6 fish across your page. Okay, you do that now while I get ready for the next step. You always want to make sure, friends, that your color pencils are sharp. This is really important because the color pencil tool operates very much like your number 2 pencil. Fine lines happen when the point is sharp. And because color pencils don't have a lot of pigment in them, like paint or chalk or pastel, when you press with a color pencil, it's usually very light, and that's a good thing. The key to color pencil blending is light layers. You don't treat a color pencil like a marker. A marker, you press hard, you get the color in one fell swoop, and you're done. The best thing to do with colored pencils is to apply multiple layers lightly. So why don't you watch me on our first fish. Now, grab your Sharpie. In order for this to really pop, I'm just going to outline my fish with a nice bold line, so it kind of looks like a coloring book. And this is just so that you can really see the color pencil technique. So there's our first fish. Now, I've decided for this first fish, what I'm going to blend are 2 adjacent colors, yellow and orange. Yellow is a primary, orange is a secondary. So, to start, I'm going to hold my pencil in my basic grip and just very quickly I'm not worried about staying inside any lines. I'm just going over the entire fish. This is another great thing about color pencils. You don't have to worry about being extremely neat on those first few layers. I'm just going to put in a layer of yellow, just like that. Perfect. Now to blend, I'm going to take my next color, orange, and I'm going to do the same thing, but very lightly. You see, I'm not pressing hard. Did you notice where my hands are? I'm not close to the point of the pencil. I don't want to press hard, so I purposely slide my hands back so that I'm applying only light pressure. Perfect. Just a second coat. Now here's where it gets more fun with color pencil blending. We're going to go back and layer multiple times, and each time I'm going to be a little more careful and apply a little more pressure so that I get the color right where I want it. So for this fish, I want his body to be mostly yellow. I'll take my time, pull my hands a little closer to the point, and apply another layer. I'm going to go over the entire fish. Now, with my orange, I'm only going to apply on the fins, the tail, right over where I was, and the edges of the fins, and the bottom of the fish. Time to go back again. Remember, with color pencils, it's about light layers. Back over, even where I just was with the orange, with my yellow. In the fins, and the tail, and one more time with our orange, focusing on the tail, the bottom of the fish, and the fins. Now I can apply even more pressure if I want to make it really dark or orange, just right at the very tips, like that. And there you go. So I have put two adjacent colors, yellow and orange, and used them to blend the colors so it's a beautiful fish. Now, I want to teach you another technique for color blending. So, let's move on to fish number 2. Fish number 2, again, I'm going to outline in Sharpie marker, so you can do that too, just so it really stands out, so it's kind of like a coloring book. And this technique is called scrumbling. Strange word, isn't it? It simply means that the strokes you make are actually little tiny circles. So to do that, I'm going to use blue and green. So again, I'm taking two cool colors. So we started off with some warm colors that are adjacent colors. Now I'm going to take some cool colors. And for the scrumbling technique, little tiny circles. So for this, you can hold your pencil a little closer to the point, and I'm making little tiny circles. Can you see that? You might be thinking, Pat, this is going to take a really long time. I just want to get it filled in. Well, this is a lesson in patience. Yes, it takes a while with the technique of color pencil because it's light layers applied over and over again. And you do need to be patient. Patience, do you know what that is? Patience is wanting something now, but you're going to have to wait until later. You know, there's a great Bible verse about patience. You can find it in Galatians 5, and it's verse 22 and 23. One of my favorites. You might know it already. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things there is no law. So God even tells us that patience is a great thing to have, and you can get it if you walk closely with the Holy Spirit. It's hard to be patient, isn't it? I know when I know that someone is baking some cookies, I'm so impatient. I want to taste them as soon as they come out of the oven. But if I do that, I could burn my mouth. So I need to learn to be patient. Has that ever happened to you? You have a special occasion coming up, maybe a vacation or at the end of the school year or a friend's birthday party, and you're so impatient you want it now. Maybe you've prayed to God about something and you didn't get the answer right away and you think, is God really listening? Well, maybe God is teaching you to be patient. That's something He really values, and it says it right in His Bible. So let's go back to our fish and be patient. We're going to scrumble with our green. Scrumbling is simply small circles all the way along the fish. Now, if I were to finish this whole fish with green, I'm going to go back with blue and scrumble, which means little tiny circles, and the blending happens on the paper. And you can scrumble over the whole fish. Now, depending on the colors you choose, you could create a whole new intermediate color. So many possibilities, and if you have a big color pencil set where you have lots of colors to choose from, you should experiment with the types of colors you can blend together through the technique of scrumbling. Little tiny circles overlapping each other. And again, it's all about layering. If you want it more green, you press harder with the green. If you want it more blue in an area, you press harder with the blue. Now, I'm going to move on to a new fish just so we can get to the next technique, which is called hatching. I'm going to use two primary colors, blue and red, which will make purple on the fish, right? Because purple is a secondary color. Okay, hatching is like this. If I were to outline this fish so you can see him, and I'm going to use the technique of hatching with my colored pencils. Think of the letter X. I'll start with my blue. I'm simply making lines very close together, going in the same direction, like so. Can you see them? So instead of scrumbling little circles or just filling it in, I'm making lines that run in the same direction with very little paper space in between. Now this particular direction is from upper right down to lower left. I'm going to fill in the whole fish this way. Now again, I'm on my first layer on my fish. I don't have to be super neat. Not yet. Okay, now that's hatching. Now with my next color, my red, I'm going to do cross hatching, which means I'm doing the same technique, little lines right up against each other, but I'm going to do it in the opposite direction. So think of it like the letter X, where a line goes at one angle, and then the next line goes at another. So it's called cross hatching. So what happens is, the red on top of the blue, layer after layer, will create a light purple. Again, having to be patient, it takes a lot of time to make all these little lines. This is my first light layer. Why do artists love colored pencil? One, it teaches them patience. Two, it helps them really understand color theory. So I've done a layer of blue and a layer of red, and with my layering, I can get the effects I want. So now I'm going to go back in the opposite direction, and I'm going to make a little more at the tail. So it's a light purple being created by laying in with the hatching blue and red. I'm building up layer after layer. Now the great thing about color pencil is it's just like regular pencil, it can be erased. So if you go outside of your lines, that's okay. One of our favorite tools, friends, is our eraser. So I can just take my eraser, smush it so it's a small area, and I can erase the color pencil that went outside my lines. So we learned that to color blend with colored pencils, you don't press hard, you actually build up a lot of light layers. You can use hatching and cross-hatching to blend. You can use scrumbling, which is little tiny circles, or you can fill in just like you would be using a crayon. All of those techniques provide you great ways to test out how to blend right on the paper. So even though some artists mix paint in a dish, and once they've mixed the color they want, they put it on the surface. With color pencils and pastels and other dry drawing media, you mix right on the paper. I hope you've had fun today learning about blending techniques with colored pencil. I know I have, and I can't wait till we're together next time, where we're going to actually do a study of one of an artist's favorite things to draw, a flower. Great, friends. See you next time.